Hashimoto's is a very common thyroid disease. About 90 to 95% of the people that actually have hypothyroidism essentially have Hashimoto's, and most of the time they don't even know it. But the way that this is assessed is thyroid antibody test, which is on blood. And so they will check for thyroid globulin, which usually is abbreviated TGAB, or thyroid peroxidase, TPO antibodies. Essentially, when we have raised antibodies, basically it means that our thyroid is getting destroyed by our body. So your body actually mistakenly thinks that your thyroid is a foreign invader, and it tries to basically destroy the tissue. And so that's essentially how the antibodies will go up then, and that's how you assess. Now, there are instances where you can have antibodies not necessarily showing up, but still have a lot of symptoms of Hashimoto's, like slow thyroid symptoms, but maybe your thyroid is actually inflamed or enlarged or swollen, and so they'll assess that on an ultrasound to basically diagnose you with Hashimoto's without necessarily antibodies. But if you have antibodies present, there's a lot of things that you can do naturally to help bring those antibodies down. So I wanted to discuss a few of these things that I use in my practice, things that I've actually done on myself, because at one point I did have antibodies that popped up. They weren't very high, but they started showing up, and so I kind of started doing some of these things. Some of them I was already doing, and some of them I just like doubled down on them and made sure that I was doing more of it. So first and foremost, food is probably the easiest area to start with and the most effective area to start with. So cutting out things like gluten and sugar, soy, dairy. So these can be very inflammatory when we have antibodies present, especially gluten. Gluten is a really big one. This is kind of a non-negotiable. I always recommend to get that out no matter what, because of something called molecular mimicry, and it can actually make your antibodies go up when you are having gluten. Also keep in mind that every time you have gluten, it takes 6 months to get out of your system. It's a very long time. So these are very, very important things to really be careful with and modify. Well, it's a great way to get your antibodies to come down naturally. Supplement wise, I do recommend things like aloe. So you can drink aloe juice. You can also take aloe pills. These are very effective. There's a lot of research showing how this can lower antibodies. Selenium, a lot of people with thyroid disease are deficient in selenium anyways, but selenium, I like selenium methionine. You can also get selenium from Brazil nuts. It's not quite as effective in my own experience. Usually the supplement is more effective. This is a great way to get antibodies to come down. And another supplement that I also like is called ovasitol. Very effective at lowering thyroid antibodies. It can actually help keep TSH in check as well. A lot of good research on this. So I do have some links below that will show you where you can go get ovasitol with a discount and all that as well. But this works quite well at getting those antibodies to come down. So that's some really important things that you can do. Another thing is your gut health. So if we have pathogens like a bacteria that's not supposed to be there, parasite, candida, we have leaky gut. So if our gut is really inflamed and we have all these things going on, it can actually make those antibodies go up and can make them go up pretty drastically for some people. So assessing your gut health is actually a very important piece. That's why I do a stool test with every one of my clients. Particularly if they have Hashimoto's, I want to know, is there something that's triggering these antibodies to go up? And if you are one of those where you're like, I cannot get my antibodies to go down, that is an area I would get checked. I would definitely assess your gut health and do a stool test. And definitely let me know if you have questions with that as well, or how you can access that. But it's a really, really good way to basically start getting those antibodies to come down if you know some underlying things. Now, you know, removing those inflammatory foods, drinking aloe juice, things like that, that can actually calm down the gut, calm down any inflammation that's going on in there. So that's a great way to help with gut health without having the test results. Red light therapy has also been very beneficial. And we're talking about putting the red light basically over your thyroid area. I actually have a little mini one. So I'll have a link below for the one that I like. And there's a discount for that as well by Juve. It's a great way to get those antibodies to come down. And I've actually had clients that have done quite well with using the red light therapy and the combination of all the other things and got those antibodies to come down. But there's a lot of other companies out there. I'll just share the one with you that I have. And I find it very, very effective. And like I said, it's just a little mini one. You can go get red light therapy sessions if you don't want to purchase one. There's a lot of facilities that have it. But the little mini one works great. You just put it right over your thyroid area. Managing your stress is another important area to address. it's actually huge. Your antibodies can go up very drastically when you are under stress. Now, stress can be different for different people. It could be internal, it could be external, it could be physical, mental, emotional. There's a lot of ways that our bodies can get stressed out. Just eating inflammatory foods can be a stressor on the body. But if you are under constant stress with work, spouse, you name it, then do all that you can do to get that cortisol response and get your stress response to calm down. It's very helpful to lower those antibodies. And then something else to consider are your toxins. So if you are constantly being exposed to toxins, so our beauty care products, our home products, anything that you're using that has a bunch of toxins and chemicals and all these things in them, they're not necessarily good for our bodies. They have to filter through the liver. That can really bog down and congest our liver for one, but it also can wreak havoc on what our body's doing with minerals, vitamins, nutrients, things like that. And it will actually tell your antibodies to go up. It will make your body think, oh my gosh, we have another thing going on here. Let's attack the thyroid even harder. So, just the exposure of toxins and chemicals, even metals, which I do test for metals in all my clients as well. Metals are notorious. If we have hidden metals, copper toxicity is very common with thyroid disease. I see this all the time in my practice, and it's very common to actually raise antibodies as well. So make sure you're getting tested for that for one, which again, reach out to me if you have questions on how to get tested for that. But do all that you can do. We can't live in a bubble, but do everything that you can control. You can control the things you're putting on your body. You can control, the candles that you have and the home, the room sprays and things like that. You can control that with using toxin-free swaps. So I'll have a link as well, a lot of links below, but I have a link as well where you can go grab my toxin-free guide. It's called Thyroid Friendly Toxin-Free Guide. Has a bunch of swaps for things for beauty care, skin care, men's health, kids' health, even your things in your home, stuff like that. So a lot of options there for swaps, and then again some links and discount codes for you as well there in that guide. So definitely let me know if you have any questions with us. These are some really good ways that you can start to remove things or to improve the health of your thyroid so that you can get those antibodies to go down. And then, like I said, if you have questions with any of this as well, just drop a comment below and you can grab the links below as well. And I will see you on the next video. Bye.